Trump's team announced that Tulsi Gabbard would be joining for debate prep, which, we've got a debate coming in September 10th when Kamala and Trump are going to debate. The reason why Tulsi is joining his team is because, if you remember, she was effectively the reason why Kamala Harris dropped out of the Democrat primary back in 2020. Here's a reminder of what that looked like.
Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
When Tulsi Gabbard says those facts about Kamala Harris, there's a massive applause that goes through. And here's a reminder, there were no Republicans in that room. Republicans were not at the Democrat, party debate. And so despite what the media want you to think, Kamala Harris is really not that popular. Again, that was like in 2020. It was not that long ago. And those are liberals who are applauding when Tulsi Gabbard, who's not even a Democrat anymore, absolutely destroys Kamala Harris. So that kind of gives you an idea of just who Tulsi Gabbard is and what she can bring to the Trump campaign. She's very precise. She's a very calm attacker. It's very effective because everything she said is true, but it's also done in a way that's very palatable and good for Americans to see. And frankly, if you remember, this mirrors the strategy that Donald Trump used against Biden just this last time where, Biden literally dropped out because of it. This was very different from what Donald Trump had done in the past. Donald Trump usually is a little bit of a yeller. In 2020, a lot of people were very critical of him in the debates, myself included, because he was just a little bit all over the place. But Donald Trump in the last debate was a lot more reserved, and you could tell he was showing a lot of restraint, probably took a lot of debate coaching. And I think Tulsi Gabbard is going to be a great coach because she's going to continue to advise him in this way, but maybe help him to be even more, precise with some good talking points, just like she was. I mean, if he can debate as good as Tulsi Gabbard did, which I don't know if he can, but maybe he could. And he will definitely do it in a way different than Tulsi Gabbard since he's on the other side of the aisle. But if he can do it kind of with that Tulsi Gabbard flair, I think it's going to be game over for Kamala Harris. It isn't just enough to use the Kamala Harris nickname. Like, you can't just go in there and call her, Chameleon Kamala or Commie Kamala, which are all good. They're good nicknames, don't get me wrong, and they're all accurate. But he needs to express to Americans how Kamala Harris has made their lives miserable in the last 4 years. That's absolutely essential. He's got to do it. Kamala Harris has also been preparing for the debate, so it's not just Donald Trump who's doing this. Obviously, Kamala Harris knows that this is make or break, and the reason why is because literally her predecessor, still the president of the United States, her boss, literally dropped out because of how bad the debate was last time. So the debates matter. In the past, people maybe a year ago, people might have said, yeah, the presidential debates don't really matter. They clearly matter now. So Kamala Harris has been preparing for the debate, and apparently she has a Trump impersonator from the Clinton campaign, which is interesting. I think it is a good idea. And the reason why it's probably an effective idea to have a Trump impersonator is because Trump's personality alone could be enough to shake you. You can learn all the facts you want. There's certainly plenty that you can attack Trump on if you want. But, his confidence is insane. And it's hard to match, actually debating the real person from just the facts. And so his personality alone could be enough to shake her. So having an impersonator might not be the worst idea, but ultimately I do think the battle for the debate is going to come down to a battle of facts and not a battle of personalities. And the reason why I say that is because we know who Donald Trump is at this point. I don't think his personality is pulling someone one way or another. Kamala Harris is. I don't think it's going to pull people towards her. I guess it could pull her away, but I actually don't think it will either way. I think it's really about facts and just kind of the vision that Americans want to see. Unfortunately, I do think there are a lot of Americans that want Kamala Harris's vision. I think if Trump can articulate his vision a little bit better, no question, he'll win in a landslide. And if I had to bet, I think Trump will win the debate. And that is because it's not even because I necessarily think that Kamala Harris is going to do awful in the debate. It could go either way. Sometimes she's a little bit better at speaking, sometimes she's not. But the reason why I think it will look particularly bad for Kamala Harris is because the media has shielded Kamala Harris this whole time. And so on one hand, you look at that and you think, okay, well, that's a good thing for Kamala Harris that they've shielded her. But on the other hand, Americans just don't really know who she is. They don't know kind of what she has to offer. And so there's a good chance, even if she's kind of mediocre, people will look at her and be like, ugh, like she's got nothing going for her at all, which is certainly what I think. But, most Americans aren't into politics as much as I am or you are. And so for that reason, I actually think Trump is going to do a good job because he's going to hit her with attacks that most people might not have even heard of before because, again, the media are shielding her. And so if he starts hitting her with things and people are hearing it and they're going, wait, what was that? That sounds kind of crazy, and they start looking it up, I think it's going to hurt her in a big way. At the same time, juxtapose that with the fact that Kamala is going to tell everyone that Trump is a Putin stooge and he's a convicted felon. And those attacks, everybody's going to be like, yeah, we've heard this before. We know he's not in league with Putin. If you believe that at this point, you're just not looking at the facts. Convicted felon, he is technically a convicted felon, so I don't think, but everyone knows that. So I think those attacks are going to fall on deaf ears. I don't think anyone cares, but that's not going to be true if Trump attacks Kamala because of just how fiercely the media have decided to shield her. Again, a lot of people have brought this up. You just can't throw enough mud on Trump to make him look bad. He's covered in mud already. But if the media make Kamala Harris look like this pristine, white, amazing person, and then you throw mud on her, you're going to notice it. You are going to notice it a lot more than Donald Trump, who might already be covered in mud. Again, I'm not saying that that's justified that he's covered in mud, but he is. He's been through it. It's been 8 years of the media slandering him. He's used to it at this point. We've all heard it. Americans are tired of it. But they aren't tired of the attacks on Kamala in the same way because she's been shielded by the media. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please go down below, comment, like, and subscribe, and watch another video.